Thanks everybody for joining another episode of Ask Us Anything. Andy and I are excited that Macall is joining, so we'll get to introductions really quick and jump in. So I'm Ian Alexander, one of the co-founders, channel chief here at Syncro. Thanks for joining. Andy, you want to intro yourself?
Yeah, I'm Andy Cormier. I'm the partner development director coming from McKinney, Texas, and I'm super excited. She's new, but she's one of our favorite people here already. Brand new director of support. So Macall, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we always like to ask new folks joining us that are going to get in front of partners, tell us like a fun fact about yourself. I know I've got my personal fun fact about you, but dealer's choice. You want to use something else, that's up to you.
All right. Thanks, Andy. Hey, everyone. Super happy to be here. Excited to kick off the new year in this fashion. Like Andy said, my name's Macall Gardner, director for Syncro Support. A little bit about me. I started at Syncro back on September 28th. Did a lot of things behind the scenes for the last quarter that I'm excited to share with you today. But I come with 10 years of service desk operational experience. Always have been around the process management leadership side of support, from supervisor, service managers to director. I've worked for different types of products or accounts, things from banking accounts to emergency services, Microsoft, military services, until I found out about the MSP channel and I was approached to come into the channel and help. I just passed over my 7 years of being within the MSP channel itself, and in 2020 was awarded the CRN Women of the Channel title for the impact I made within my support efficiencies and recognitions received within the channel experiences that I brought and provided by my team. Prior to Syncro, I was the director of technical support for Datto, where I spent some time within all of their product suites and helped them build and grow out their support presence and DR initiatives. And then the last 4 years of my time at Datto, they were primarily focused on their application products, which included their RMM and PSA systems. I'm coming to Syncro. I'm extremely excited and extremely empowered. And I came to Syncro because in talking with Emily, I really do believe in the mission that making life better for MSPs is what I'm all about. And I know that support is an extremely important part of that mission. I feel I can make a huge impact here to be able to contribute and to be valued again within the channel specifically. And I want to bring back the partner focus to the support team and ultimately have this team be known for an award-winning service. I do feel like I'm representing this change in the team. And I'm putting partners first by being the first person in support, in this support group and this level, to bring the experience of both service desk experience and MSP experience environmental changes that we will make this a huge success. So Ian, Andy, thanks for inviting me today. I'm excited to be here and happy to share some things that we have coming up.
Yeah, thanks, Macall. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions in general? I think we're going to get asked one way or the other, so I might as well get some at the top of the hour here. Are you down for that?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. And here I thought we were buds, and I didn't know that thing about the awards. So yeah, thanks for looping me out of that one. So listen, when we do these, Ian and I don't really pull any punches here, so I'm just going to say it. We definitely have seen an uptick in complaints from partners over the past year about the speed and the quality of support in general. It's hard to believe that you've only been here for 90 days, because I know both of us have seen a tremendous impact from the support side already. But can you let folks know specifically what you saw when you first got here and the things that you've done in your first 90 days to begin combating some of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my first 90 days definitely flew by, but it was fun and exciting, a lot to dive into. I really wanted to focus on our goals, our processes, our tools, getting to know the actual team. I've asked a lot of questions of the group, make sure I understood the direction in which Syncro wanted to go and where we were at currently today. And I also talked with partners, how their experience was going, how's it been within support, but really wanted to take the first 90 days to set us up to move forward into 2023 with goals in mind and a direct plan moving forward. So during my 90 days, I did find a few things, right? And I'm going to call those out. Syncro has an amazing work culture, but the support team has some maturing that it needs to do, as well as process improvements and expectations set. Our KPI goals were not necessarily formed or measured to proper standards. And we really needed the team to understand their connection to the greater company goods, like why support is so important in all this. The impact support has on the MSP experience is massive. I know one poor support experience from us, you're going to churn, or you may be looking at other competitor teams. So it's really on us to provide that holistic troubleshooting approach with quality and effective solutions. So we were not meeting those marks. That experience has been poor. I've heard it from several partners. I've seen it myself in my initial reviews. We have a lot of work here, Andy, to get done. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm leading some of these changes. We'll own up to it. We understand what it's been. We've seen it in social media posts. We've seen it on the community forums. I've held a couple escalation focus groups. I understand that, but here I am here today making the change to move forward and going to, be open with my communications and transparency about the team and what we're going to go forward with, in hopes that, we can start this new year off right and end it with an award-winning service that continues to grow partners because of our improving reputation.
Love it. I love the no BS stuff. This is the best. So, all right. So me and Ian, we always kind of get asked during these, like, what should customers expect? What do our partners expect in the next 1 to 2 quarters from a product perspective? Do you want to speak to what our partners can expect in the next 1 to 2 quarters from a support perspective?
Sure. So maybe can I start a little bit with like what we accomplished in Q4 and then how that kind of feeds into the new year?
Sure.
Because I do think we did a lot behind the scenes, Andy, a lot that I think help us set the grounds to what we're going to focus on in Q1 of this year. But it had to start somewhere. So we did a lot of behind the scenes improvements with our support team, setting new support values and expectations internally to the team, providing them the why behind their role and the importance of it. We optimized scheduling for better product coverage. We admittedly, we had gaps. We left intervals of the day without coverage, and that's just not acceptable. And the importance of having appropriate staffing and coverage is needed. So we did correct that in Q4. And then we wanted to improve our communication practices and being more transparent to issues that we have on hand. That is a phased approach, and I'll talk about it a little bit more when we talk about Q1 initiatives, but we started this with introducing the known issues board for rich text and more to come on that topic in a minute. And then we also held and implemented team trainings on queue management best practices and ticket workflow improvements. I speak about KPIs and service levels and where are we at. I can share that for Q4, we had some really successful improvements in our goals, and I'd like to just highlight a few of those for awareness. Abandoned volume. When I first joined, I noticed that we had a significantly high amount of volume being dropped or going unanswered when you try to contact our support team. We were sitting at a 12% abandon rate when I first started, with resulting optimizing schedules according to volume and with just improving our availability rates. I am happy to share with the team that we've significantly dropped this abandon rate, and we are now successfully at a 1% or less of all incoming support channels, whether it's chat, email, calls, as far as being answered rates goes. And then the other one I think it's important to note is we did have a high intensity focus on our first response time in Q4. With coaching and queue management trainings, we were successfully able to reduce our first response time by 49%. We cut out 30 hours from our initial response time. Now, I'm not saying that we're perfect in this area yet. We're still growing. We're still learning. We have a lot of work here still to be done, but it's going to continue to be a focus on Q1 of this year And that's, again, why I wanted to start with that first as we go into the new year conversation.
Yeah, that's sick. And like I said, just knowing that all of that got done in the first 90 days is just amazing to me. So I'm super jazzed to see what we do in Q1 and Q2. I know we're probably going to get some questions. You mentioned the known issues board. I know it's a work in progress. I'm super excited that we finally have something like this, or at least the beginning stages of it. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like what, for example, like what would people expect to see included in there? What would they expect not to see included in there? That kind of thing going forward?
Yeah. So we definitely have the known issues board as a priority focus for Q1 of the new year. We did roll it out in December, like you mentioned. It helped us with our rich text initiatives specifically, but we're actually going to continue on this as a new channel of communication and information moving forward. We're actively going through our support and engineering backlog with our triage teams to add beneficial information to this board. So it's not just for rich text. This is going to be an initiative moving forward for all of our products and maybe bug defects that we are actively triaging. The goal is to make this a go-to reference for understanding any potential impacts you might have, and it's going to be a tool to use prior to even contacting support. It should be a go-to to check to see if it's already reported. As a reminder, I want to throw out there, Andy, that you can actually interact with this board in a few different ways. You can acknowledge that you're impacted by it by adding that red circle emoji. By doing that, we actually automatically grab your account information and collect that data to indicate that you're impacted. So you no longer are required to open up an additional support case. That reduces that extra need of time on your behalf to have to contact us. You can raise your hand and volunteer to participate in EA or beta testing should it be needed. And then you can follow the post and receive up-to-date notifications by changing your notification settings to watching. So if we update the known issues board with a feature update or a rollout update or even a workaround, you'll be receiving that real real time as we update it by changing that notification status to watching.
That's super cool. Ian just threw in the chat for anybody. He threw in the link to the known issues board if folks haven't seen it yet and want to check that out.
Yeah. And like I said, our focus is, Andy, is right now we're working with engineering. We should see more information getting added to that knowledge board this week and definitely this month and throughout the rest of the quarter. It was a phased approach. We needed to get it out there, and now we're going through our backlog and updating it. We do have a severity score that we're working on and level of priority and impact percentage. That's how we're calculating what's going to go on the board and what's a one user situation. So more to come, and we'll continue to communicate on the community page about that process, and you will see the known issues board get updated as more information gets added.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm super jazzed for that initiative. Last question, I think, for you for now. Well, like I said, we'll hit the Q&A stuff second half. But for any new folks that are here in attendance, would you mind just giving like a quick rehash of our support channels? Like what's the best ways for our partners to reach out to support? What's our current support hours, things like that?
Sure. So our support is officially 24/5, Monday through Friday. That 24/5 time zone goes off the Eastern Standard Time zone, but we do have coverage available for all global. We are phone, chat, and email support, ticketing support. We have a support portal that's available based off of our community board that's available for you. But I do want to note, forms within community or forms within social media is not an actual support channel. That is more to, seek out additional advice, things of that nature. But if a case is to be created with support, you can call, chat, or email us at help@syncromsp.com to get assistance.
Cool. All right. So support channel is not the community forum. I know we had some confusion about that from folks in the past, but that's good to hear an official response.
But I will say, Andy, we're actively rebuilding our support portal this month, and it's a Q1 initiative as well. So when you click into community, you will see our support portal. There you'll be able to actually interact and have more informative information. It's going to be for all Syncro products. It's going to have KBs, known issues boards, job aids, how-to videos. You can create a ticket there. You can chat with us. You can schedule a call with us. All of that is something that we're working to relaunch and rebuild for Q1. We want to make it a impactful, useful tool, not just a contact site. So I'm excited to get that going this last week, and I hope to have it rolled out sooner rather than later, definitely by the end of Q1.
Super cool. All right, thanks, Macall, for being a good sport and taking on all the questions head on. I appreciate that. I am going to do, I'm going to do a quick demo here. We got asked this for the past couple Ask Us Anythings, if we can take like a favorite feature that we have and run through it. There's a lot of folks that didn't see some of the full-blown power of some of these different things. So today I'm going to go over recurring invoices quick. Can you all see my screen? Sorry, I'm having an issue here. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So really quick, what we're seeing here is our recurring invoice system. This is an actual recurring invoice. And one of the most powerful features of Syncro is the sheer amount of time that we can save our partners through what we call our dynamic recurring billing system, which basically means we will dynamically count different object types at the time this recurring invoice fires. So for an example, the vast majority of you running managed services are going to be billing a per asset fee every month or a per employee fee every month. And for that fee, you give them, how many ever hours a month of support, or it might be unlimited support, depending on how you have it structured. That is such a major annoyance to have to manually hop into your recurring invoices every time you increment or decrement an employee or an asset. With our system, you don't have to do that at all. So we have a couple different things that you can automatically bill for here. Asset is obviously the most obvious one. I call it labor. That's what my labor item, and I'll call it, we'll just say workstation, for example. I bill this under labor. You can bill it under whatever product that you want. And basically, this will do a fixed quantity. Sorry, I need to refresh my screen. Live demo, I got an issue going on here. Let's try that again. There we go. So it'll pull up your labor product or whatever product, and we'll call it workstation. This will show up on the invoice for the end users. And here you can just say, okay, I have 5, and I'm going to bill $100 for every asset. That would be if you want to do it manually. If you want to do it automatically, you can actually select any asset type. We're going to choose Syncro device. This means any asset that has a Syncro agent deployed to it, but you can bill out for anything you want. If you want to bill for every printer, every router switch, any custom device you add in here, you can hit anything that you want. And it's that simple. So now if I'm just going to kill this. And now it'll bill $100 for every single Syncro device. So if there's 5 this month, this invoice is going to be $500. If this runs next month and there's 10, it's going to be for $1,000. It'll count it automatically. Now, a lot of folks will say, okay, I want to bill a certain amount for my workstation and a different amount for my servers. Well, that's easy to do too. Instead of doing it this way, you can actually bill by a saved asset search. So here you can create whatever criteria that you want, as crazy as you want to make it, and you can bill specifically for assets under this customer that fit that criteria. So here I could just say, I'm going to bill for all my workstations, $100. I can add this to the recurring invoice. And then I can just use my other saved asset search for servers. And here I might want to bill $150. Again, you can have as many line items on the recurring invoice as you want, all dynamically counting various things. Now, that's one way. Now, if you guys are billing against employees, we have this customer contact counter instead. Works the same way, basically. You know what, let me refresh this again. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to bill it against labor because this is really service revenue. And I'm going to say, okay, well, I'm going to bill that same $100, but instead of per asset, I'm going to do it per employee. Now, some folks might say, well, I want to track all of the employees, even if they've been terminated, so I can have a record of everything that they did. Well, we've accounted for that too. So in this contact field type, I even made a custom contact field. You can make it whatever you want. Mine says employee status, and I'm going to only bill for the people that are currently active. So every time somebody terminates an employee, employee leaves, whatever the scenario is, you can just go in the system, set them to inactive, and this will only pull up the active ones. So here again, you can bill for any variety of contacts that you want specifically. Now, the last two is we've got our native remote access tool Splash Top that all of our technicians get for free. If you want to enable work from home access for your customers, you can do that at a cost of $5 per contact. It's not per asset. So if they have 20 assets, they can go in our customer portal for that same $5. They're going to get access to all 20 assets. So if you're not using our customer portal, it's a big advantage if you are. Secondarily, you can go in here and you don't have to manually figure out how many people to bill for. You can just say, okay, I'm just going to say this is remote access, and I'm going to bill $10 for every single contact on this customer that hasn't enabled. And again, it's going to dynamically count it for you every single month without you having to lift a finger. And the last thing we did is we built this with our semi-new policy inheritance feature that basically lets you have any kind of folder structure and cascading policies that will aggregate onto any asset underneath those folders. Well, you can actually build directly from a folder. So if you've got a very unique setup, you can go in and say, okay, I'm just going to take this folder for servers, and any asset that falls in this folder, I'm going to bill $150 for. Any asset that falls under workstations, as an example, I'll bill a different amount for. And sometimes you might have folders underneath a specific folder. So here I've got a backup subfolder. So maybe that's a different amount. Or you could just pick this and choose this option that says bill for all nested assets within nested folders. So this will tag every single asset in any number of subfolders beneath the one that you've selected. So there's literally nothing that you can't take and build dynamically for. And then on top of this, if folks are buying licenses like their Office 365 licenses or whatever other licenses through PAX 8, we've got an integration that effectively does the same thing. It'll take any SKU from PAX 8, dynamically bring it into your recurring invoice and count it every single month or whatever your cadence is. It's very cool. There's a couple other quick items I'll show folks on here. A lot of folks don't know we have these specific options right here. I, as an MSP years ago, had some customers who wanted very weird billing cycles. Like they didn't want every single invoice or every single ticket I did, they wanted it in an aggregate. It couldn't be once a month. It had to be once every Friday or something weird like that. So you can actually select this, and any pending ticket charges that are sitting there waiting to be billed, this will actually grab all of those and add them to a recurring invoice and bill it. Now it can go on your monthly contract invoice. So if you've got folks who are doing one-off work in conjunction with their contract, like after hours work or something you would normally charge extra for, you can pick up all those and include it. Or you can actually do this as a second invoice if you want it to be separate. You can even go in and select what statuses to bill for. Traditionally, you're just going to say, I want to grab everything from my resolved statuses that haven't been billed yet. And then you can even go in and just sort them on the invoice however you like. Second option here is for folks that do block hour contracts. We used to do a lot of these. The general concept is that, hey, you're going to pay me $1,000 a month or whatever. You're going to get 10 hours of support a month. And then if you don't use all of those hours, they don't carry over. They run out at the end of the month. Well, this is a really easy way to do that. So our recurring invoice would be adding 10 hours every single month. And before it fires, it'll run this task here, which basically wipes any amount of hours that they have in their queue, and it will reset it to 0 and then add a new month of 10 or whatever it is that you're billing for. And the last thing here is if you're doing a ton of recurring invoices and you go and you change the price of a product, you don't want to have to go back and change like 150 recurring invoices. So this will go ahead and handle that for you. It'll go ahead and update every single recurring invoice anytime anything that's on this invoice changes its price from a product perspective. So that's it for recurring invoices. So if anybody has any questions specific about that, go ahead and dump them in the Q&A. And then I've got one small quality of life feature to show folks today. We announced a bunch back at our fireside chat in December, and we're going to start showing these off live when they're about ready to be released at our Ask Us Anythings. So here's the one that we've got for today. Very small one, but it's been one that's been asked quite a bit. We've added this field down here for last boot. This has been something that has existed here in our system info tab, but it's kind of a pain. If you quick need to see it, you're working on the asset, you need to get to it quick. It's kind of annoying to find it in here. Then you have to come in here and find it over here. So we just made it a little bit more apparent by putting it right on the primary asset record. So for folks that were asking about that, It's here. It should be live possibly later today, but it'll be by the end of the week at the latest. So excited to bring that one specifically because we were getting asked for that one quite a bit. So Ian, I know you've got some stuff you want to talk about, so I'm going to pass it off to you.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Fun stuff. So we just want to give a couple updates on things we hear questions about often, since there's a lot of people here. So first thing is rich text on tickets is now in GA. So thanks to everybody who tested it early and was an early adopter there. Rich text is rolling out. It has already started to be rolled out. It's rolling out to the entire partner base over this week. So you should start to see that on your account soon. Exciting stuff. Lots of hard work from our team on that and lots of feedback from you guys. So thanks a lot. So that's exciting. Another thing that we get asked about a lot is Stripe ACH. It is currently in early access. I don't have a timeline yet for general availability because it's based on the feedback we get in early access. If you want to be added to early access there, let me know. We've added quite a few folks. So lots of folks are testing that out. Just want to celebrate this win again. A lot of you have heard over the past 12 months about the Heroku to AWS migration. That is complete. It is done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So this is probably the last time I'll ever say anything about it, but that is complete. You should have seen a lot of performance improvements over the last month. And we're just in a great place now comparatively. And moving on from that, scheduled scripts. So as you know, and this is going to be on the known issues board that Macall talked about, so that you can quickly get updates and you don't have to wait for these to hear them from me. But scheduled scripts not running always is one of the top issues, if not the top issue at the moment. And we have 2 fixes in the pipeline that are being worked on and should come out over the next couple of weeks. Because of our move to AWS and lots of hard work from the engineering team, we now have really good observability, so we can see the impact of any fixes that we put out on the overall number of failed script runs. So we will be putting these few fixes out and seeing how they impact the number of failed runs. If we need to make additional fixes, we will make those. But we're hopeful about that and excited to get that resolved for folks. We've been working really hard on it. Okay, moving on, one more thing, and then we'll go to Q&A. So if you want to start putting your questions in the comments, if you're watching from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or if you're on Zoom directly, feel free to put them in the Q&A box and we'll get to them. But last thing I'll say, as a teaser, we have started UI UX work on the top navigation. So you'll start to see some improvements there. Again, we started with the navigation in the Syncro web app because it affects every single page. So you're going to start to see lots of cool UI UX things over the year. And this is just the first, but yeah, wanted to put a quick teaser out there for you. Okay, that is all the quick updates we wanted to give you. We're going to open it up for Q&A now. Andy, you got one?
Yeah, so Manuel is asking, when is the last boot being launched? We were hoping to be ready for like right now, like we did the last time, but it's passing QA now. So it's possible it'll be out as soon as today, but it'll definitely be out by the end of the week. Anonymous person's asking, do you have a video on the recurring invoices I just explained? There's an old video floating around. I'm going to put the KB link that we have that does explain a lot of that in the chat, and then I'll get that over to you. But yeah, let me know if you think it'd be beneficial if I had a new video on it. I think that's probably a good idea, so I probably should do another one. But that's the link for that one. Macall, I've got one for you. Chris is asking, how would you like us to submit bug reports going forward? Often the support team seems like they're trying to attribute it to like, hey, this might be by design or a little bit of a back and forth with the customer trying to fully explain like the context of the problem. So what's the best path forward for that?
Great question, Chris. So the best path forward is still to first submit a support case to get it documented and make sure we've captured everything. We're actually going to be introducing support levels and skills-based routing to our team this quarter. By having those elevated support tiers in our department, this is going to allow us for that proper escalation handling workflow and path, and we are working directly with a triage team process that'll allow us to really decipher bug versus working as intended, and that's where the known issues board is going to get flagged as well. So as far as reporting the bugs currently, externally they're going to still be received the same way. Internally, we've changed our processes a bit on how to flag those, and again, adding additional product training to our support team is going to help us understand those items as they come up working as intended or bug related either way. But yeah, no change to the partner workflow at this time.
Got one here. Emily wants me to go over the EA. And okay, so here we go.
I was like, that's a familiar name asking questions.
So context. For the first time we released rich text, there were issues, and we had thought we had very thoroughly tested it. But there were definitely some issues that we found, and it was a little messy when we released it, to say the least. So one of the many improvements we have made to the way that we release new features is we are, for large, impactful features, trying to do early access as often as possible. So we're doing that for Stripe ACH. We did it for rich text when we re-released it after having fixed those bugs. And we're letting folks who are willing to start using those features. We're finding all of the issues up front before it hits the majority of the user base. And we're resolving those issues. Once they're resolved, then we start rolling it out to a small percentage of the user base over time. So for example, I mentioned with rich text, we are rolling it out over the course of this week. It has started to be rolled out today. But that basically, these are all precautions we're putting in place to catch issues earlier, make rollouts smoother. And so far, these systems have helped a lot. We've caught a lot of things, and we're going to continue to improve that. We've also made a lot of investments in areas like QA and in the just engineering org in general to find issues sooner before users see them. So hopefully you're going to see the benefit of that, and we're going to keep working on it.
Yeah, and Emily was also putting in here, I knew it was coming out soon, but she's like, it just went out like right now to the, I think it's going out to, I think 10% of folks that we started at today. I know it's going to be adding more as we go on over the next week or two, but yeah, I think that first batch is now out. So there should be a hefty amount of folks who have access to it right now, which is, I hope actually my account's one of them. So I'm gonna go play with that. That's cool. Let's see. Fauzi's asking, he'd like to see alerts if we add new scripts to the library. Fauzi, there's a lot of stuff getting added there pretty frequently. I know every 2 weeks we add them. If you want to ask another question, just let me know if it'd be helpful. Like I could put an announcement in the community forum every time I approve like a new batch of them, if that's helpful. I don't know if we necessarily build the functionality to send out notifications from like the Syncro system, but I could definitely do like a community type post every time we do that. Let me know if that would help solve that for you. Let's see. Again, a lot of comments, Macall, specifically about the positivity of everything you talked about for support. A lot of comments, so that's actually very cool. Let's see. Somebody's saying, okay, this is an interesting question. We've been using Syncro for 3 years now and feel we're only using a small portion of it. Is there a way to get a review of our usage and see how we can improve or use more of its features? Not in an automated way. That's an interesting question, though. In fact, my email is andy@syncromsp.com. Shoot me an email and tell me where you think you might be light, and we can have a conversation on the side here. But yeah, I think that might be actually an interesting thing to automate, let folks know that we have these other power features that they might not be using. And that's part of what we want to do here too going forward is pick something small every time and just spend 5 minutes on it so folks can see the power that's there that they might not be actually realizing at this point. But that's a good question. Another user from Facebook is saying, what are you guys doing about the issues of monthly invoice sync to zero, where we see quite a few invoices fail to sync each month? So good question. I was actually just talking to one of the product managers about this morning. So for context, here's the issue. All of the invoices at Syncro currently get queued up and handled every day based on when you have them scheduled. The bulk of people obviously schedule them last day of the month, first day of the month. That creates a bottleneck. It throttles us with QuickBooks Online and Xero quite often, and it creates this long delay where it may take just within that small portion of time, a couple hours for those invoices to fully sync over. We are looking at a whole myriad of ways to improve that. And also we're looking for ways to get out of the scenario where every once in a while, one or two won't sync out of that batch and you'll have to go back and manually resync them. We're going to be attacking both of those issues. And I know it's just starting to get, I don't know what the term is technically, but written up and investigated right now to a point where they can bring it to engineering and focus on that. That's definitely a Q1 initiative. Ian, I don't know if you have a timeline on this one. Another Facebook user is asking about bringing VAT to the stuff that we added for the UK, bring it to other countries like New Zealand.
I just asked the product team for an update on it. I've seen it multiple times on the roadmap, but I don't know the current status. So I just asked.
Okay. Let's see, what else do we got here?
Okay, I got an answer. They're planned for Q1. I don't have more. Australia and New Zealand tax changes are planned for Q1. That is the level of granularity that I have.
Cool. All right. We're going to be knocking a lot of things down in Q1. This is awesome. Jason is asking, last time I tried to map network drives via scripts, it didn't work. I dug into it and told it was a known issue. Is there any timeline for getting that fixed? Jason, I don't know of any known issues. I mean, PowerShell is PowerShell. So, I mean, there's not anything inherently wrong with how we're launching the script. I kind of have a sneaking suspicion what you might be doing is running that as system versus the logged in user if you're trying to get it to run for a specific user. But I would maybe send another note in again. That doesn't sound right unless I'm misunderstanding some context. I don't know of any known issues with our PowerShell scripts in that regard at all. Let's see. Question about invoicing. When I'm working on an invoice and adding any pending ticket charges, they automatically go to the end of the invoice. I know we can adjust line items up and down on a single page, but can you move a line item between pages? So say moving something on page 3 to page 1 to keep dates in order for the customer. I think you can. Let me double check, but I'm 99% sure that one of the sort options for those can sort by date. If you're asking if you can have those pending charges show up before anything else that you have on the recurring invoice, I don't think that's possible. If you want to ask a follow-up and let me know, are you just saying the added stuff you want it to be in chronological order? Are you saying you need that for some reason to show up before the stuff that you have, like your core invoice items? Let me know. Normally, you would want those core items showing first because that's what your customer is going to get every single month, whether there's additions or not. So it might be a little bit confusing if they're at the back, but like I said, let me know on that. And I'm going to pull this up in the meantime, Ian, if you want to take another one.
Yeah, I've got a question here. Somebody wants to pay us for onboarding, basically. I'm summarizing. We don't currently have professional services. So you can't currently pay for premium onboarding. Maybe shoot me an email and tell me what you'd like there. We do have some folks on the team who'd be willing to help with implementation. It's not a paid service. So it probably just depends how deep you want that to go. But yeah, shoot me an email. I'd be happy to introduce you to someone who can help with implementation.
And I did, let me see here, make sure everybody can see my screen here. Here's where you would do that. So when you add your items to the recurring invoice, let's just say we're doing a resolve tickets, you can actually sort it by resolution date or creation date, however you want to do it, even when you started the timer. So that should sort it the way you want. But like I said, ask another question if you're asking about putting that in front of the other charges. And Macall, yeah, I asked for a fun fact. I didn't hear one, and I have. Now I feel good because even Emily's asking about the tractor. So I guess we have to. Your fun fact is set in stone now.
Oh yeah, you're right. So I failed to mention that. So yes, outside of Syncro Life, my husband Jason and I are avid farmers. We just soybeans, just crop farm, but have a good time. And in our spare time of that, we actually do professional tractor pulling. And we both have our own tractors, souped up engines. We've built it all ourselves, configured it all ourselves, and go all over the New York state, as well as Ohio, Pennsylvania, a little bit of Vermont, participating in tractor pulls.
It's so funny. The first time you told me that, I think it was like one of the first times I met you, and we're all doing like fun facts and introducing ourselves. And she's just like, yeah, I do like professional tractor racing or pulling, whatever, just goes into the next thing. I'm like, wait, I've never heard this ever. We have like 100 people here. I've never, ever heard that. So that's.
I know. Next time Andy comes to New York, we're going to race some tractors and see who wins. Maybe
this is being recorded, Macall. So yeah, if Macall is never invited back, it's because I visited and I didn't get to do anything with tractors because I will get pissed. I've been so jazzed about that. All right, what else we got here? We got other people asking questions about tractor pulling now. This is kind of funny. Oh, let's see what else we got. Fauzi's saying we manage VoIP in-house for our clients. Could we add the phones inventory into Syncro? For now, we use Domots. It'll help us open tickets, etc. Yeah, you can open up any. Okay, so the way our custom assets work is you can add any asset into the system, and you can classify it. So as an example, if you want to say printer, you can add any number of custom fields to it. So you could say like type of printer. It could be a DeskJet or LaserJet or whatever. And you can add as many custom fields to that as you want, and they'll only live within that custom asset. So you could definitely add one for phones. And if you wanted to bill out from that, you could pull that into recurring invoices and just say you're going to bill X amount per phone. What it wouldn't do is it wouldn't like pull in your minutes unless we have like a direct integration with them and bill for that kind of thing. But you can add anything else, anything that's trackable from an inventory perspective. You can absolutely track it. You can assign them to tickets. So it's not just specific to billing. You can add them onto tickets and track it that way. And you can use it for inventory tracking as well. So yeah, that's a good question.
Also, I'll add, there is a Domots Syncro integration. So I don't know specifically that integration 100%, but I think that automatically creates assets. I know at the very least it syncs over alerts. So you might want to check that out.
We're down to just a couple of questions. We got about 15 minutes left that we're here. So like I said, if you guys have more questions for us, for Macall, if you want to have specific MSP questions answered, whatever you got, now's your chance to ask it. I got a question from Martin from YouTube. He's saying, is there a way to add a customer name to the subject line or body for a custom report? Yeah, yes and no. There's not a way to do it in like the email itself. However, if you're using our, we have very cool executive summary report builder. It's very, very customizable, and it does have custom blocks that you can just add whatever text you want, if it's explainer text, or if you want to put specific customer information on it, schedule it and send that out to them every month. So if take a look at our executive summary report builder, and that would be able to do it for you, but you wouldn't be able to actually do the subject of the email. It's not something that we offered today, but that's a good question.
Emily is just posting tons of questions. We should just have Emily on. Why isn't Emily just in here? Emily wants to know, Macall, what you're most excited about for 2023.
I think I'm most excited about just the support career ladder, the leveling of the team. I think not only is that going to help boost the morale of the team, and but it's going to help the experience for the partners. It's going to help the experience for troubleshooting. And then that will also allow us to find the gaps in our tools to be able to, help release better features for self-servicing options. And but I think it all has to start from the ground up, and that starts with leveling of our support team and growing that education.
Ian, what are you most excited for 2023?
Oh boy.
All the way around here.
Oh,
No dinosaur stuff.
I don't know. There's a lot of things. I'll just say in general, there's a lot of things. But I would say I'm excited to speed up. I in a lot of areas. I think we've, for the past couple of years, been slowing down so we could speed up, working on this Heroku to AWS migration, getting the right people like Macall in place to, figure out how to make support awesome, etc. We've been doing a lot of that kind of background foundational work. And I think we're going to be able to do a lot of fun stuff this year. So I'm excited for excitement and going fast with quality and yeah, it's going to be fun.
And Emily says you're excited about Owen sleeping more. Well, Emily's on fire today.
Hey, I'll tell you, last night he slept. He only woke up once. So
for everybody that
that was
doesn't know,
huge.
Ian had a new baby a couple months back, and he's back from, well, it's longer than that, but he's
He's 7 months now.
Yeah. He's getting sleep again, so that's that's good news.
I'm wide awake today.
Okay, Fauzi's asking if I can show him about the custom assets. So yes, I can. Let me figured you'd ask that. Okay, so if we're on our asset tab, I think it's in actions. Yeah, go to manage asset types and it'll pop this for you. This is basically, these are all custom that you can create. The only one that you can't customize other than adding fields to it that they'll all have is the Syncro device. So if you just create a new one, let's just say I'm going to create a printer. That's cool. Oh, I already have that one. So let's see. All right. And then here you can just add whatever fields you want. So everyone will have a serial and a name by default. And you can set whether or not these fields are required when you're adding the asset to the Syncro system. And if you want to add something new, like I can just be like, okay, what's the type? And then I can say it's a drop down. And then I could say like, whatever they call them, inkjet or laser. And then if you want to say it's required, great. So then I'll go ahead and create that. Now you can see my type is here. So if I go to, let's just go to this plus button up here and I'm like, I want to add a new asset. Now this is my training customer. Oh, sorry, I did it wrong. Create asset manually, this button up here. This is for your custom ones. I'm going to pick printer. And now this is all the stuff I did. So like I'm going to link it to whatever customer you want. This is where you give it a name, your serial. And then you'll see that the serial is not required, but the make model type is, and this is the one I just added. So you can be like, cool, it's an inkjet, and create it. And then from there, all the stuff you do with normal assets, you can do here. So again, if you're on a ticket, you can add it to a ticket, you can add it to recurring invoices, you can add it to one-off invoices, whatever you want. It's treated as a basic object from that point. Can you implement sorting for those drop-down lists? It'll make it easier to locate items. We could implement it, but you should be able to add them in the order you want. Are you talking like if you add like a third option to 2 and you want it to be alphabetized, or what do you mean specifically there? Because you should be able to add them in whatever order you want, customizable. Yeah, Fauzi's asking about our Domos integration. Yeah, you get alerts currently, but they will bring over the asset information. They should, and they should sync that to the ticket today, I believe, Fauzi. Well, while we're waiting for a couple more questions, we're always looking for folks to let us know what they'd like to see. So I'm kind of gonna open up the floodgates here. If folks want to dump a like the quality of life features that we showed off at the fireside chat, the one I just showed here, if there's just something really small that you would love to see us implement, it would really improve your day, save you time, make you money, make something significantly easier for you. Dump it in chat, let us know. And maybe I'll even pick my favorite one. I'll write it up and I'll start bugging the product people until they make it. We'll see how far we get with one of those. Somebody's asked, okay, so another question about the best place to get training. We do have Syncro Academy. Ian, do you have can you dump the URL for that, the Syncro Academy? And that has a lot of training videos, training materials. If you're looking for like MSPs helping MSP type stuff, our community forums or our Facebook group is great for that. There's some people, like I'll see a post in 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, I'll be the first one to respond. There's already like 10 people commenting on it. So those are very active groups. That's probably the two best ways today. Chris has got a.
Andy, I can add to that a little bit because I am collaborating with Amanda from our training department on Syncro. We're doing some internal Syncro courses and some sprouts and things like that. But I am working with her on thinking about the partner experience and the MSP training. So we potentially are going to be adding short clip videos to that as well, and that would be connected to that academy. So I think that's a great link to provide. I can shoot it in the chat.
Oh yeah, perfect. Thank you. All right, we're getting a couple of requests in here, so we'll just talk about them quick. Chris, I talked to him quite frequently on the Facebook group. He's saying he wants to be able to enter the date and time for ticket comments. So good news on that, Chris. Well, semi-good news. I wrote that one up a while ago, and that is on a list. Now, where it is exactly in the priority, I don't know, but it's on like a legit list of things that we're going to do. So you will see that. What Chris is asking is, we have ticket timers and a way to add time manually to a ticket. We also have a neat feature at the bottom. When you add a ticket comment, there's like a thing that says, hey, add 60 minutes of billable time, and here's what I did. But it'll use the current time now. So like if I went on site and I came back and I logged time, it's going to say you were there from this time to this time, like the most recent hour. And he wants to be able to go in and specifically say, no, I did this work last night or whatever. Or sometimes you may not want the customer knowing you were doing work in the middle of the night and you want to log it to a regular part of the workday. So yeah, we will. That is something that's going to be coming. So that's a good request. Manuel's saying he wants the ability to remove discounted per contract from charges and invoices. So yeah, there's a thing in Syncro where you have customer specific pricing. And so I can go in and say, okay, for you, the labor rate is $75, but this person's a VIP, they get it for $50 an hour, whatever. And that will actually prepend any line item by saying, hey, it's discounted per your contract. And Manuel, and I don't personally like that either. I think that's a great one too, Manuel. I'm gonna make a note of that one. Don't see anything else. Somebody's asking about integrations with online signing services. That one's definitely out of scope for like a quality of life size, but I think that's a good request. Ian, have you spoken to anybody? Is that anything that's on the docket possibly or not? Not right now.
Not in a long time. If there's one in particular that you like, send it to me. In general, for integrations, if there's an integration you'd like to see added, you can just email me at ian@syncromsp.com. I'm happy to work with other vendors to get them created. There's new ones coming out all the time. So yeah, just shoot me an email. Got one here, a request for the ability to filter the ticket the ticket index page by the created date. You
can do that now.
You can technically, like, you can add the column in the ticket detail page, and then you can sort by that column. It's not a filter though, it is a sort.
And you can also sort, like if you do, this is the field here. If you just want to sort by that, it'll do what you're looking for. And also, I believe in your saved ticket searches, you could also sort by created, whatever direction you want as like a default. But if you're saying you want a view of like, you want to be able to say like date is from X to Y in here, that's a good request. We don't have that. But do me a favor, pop a follow-up in there and let me know if that's what you're looking for specifically.
Yeah, I could see that being useful if you want to see like tickets that were created in the last month, but you want to sort by priority. You wouldn't be able to do that. I got another one here from Chris about a full API. So Yeah, it's complicated. There are some things that will probably never be in the API for security reasons. Specifically, like I don't think you'll ever be able to run a script via the API. However, there are lots of things that we could add that are just not in there, and it's not intentional. It's just that we haven't added them yet. So if you want to send a list to me, I am putting together a list anyway of lots of API requests. So feel free to shoot that over to me via email. It'd also be helpful to know what the use case is, because sometimes we can add a thing, but it doesn't have the field you're looking for because we didn't know the exact use case. You muted, Andy.
Sorry. Scott's asking about filtering by tech also on the ticket index page. So that is something else you can do on your save ticket search too. You could filter it just by specific text, or you could even select a couple if you wanted to do more than one. Manuel's saying multiple email addresses both in and out. That's a good request. In terms of out, that's definitely not like a small quality of life one. That's a much bigger, longer tail feature, but definitely a good suggestion. On the in, you can do that today. So when you set up mailboxes in Syncro, you can actually set up as many as you want, and you can tell them what to do specifically. Like you can have specific email rules. If it's matched to a specific domain, for an example, do XYZ or assign it to a specific technician. So I don't think there's a limit on how many inbound email addresses that you can have, but the outbound, sending, invoices from an invoicing email and stuff like that, we definitely hear that one frequently. That's a good suggestion too. All right, well, we're at the top of the hour, so I think we've gotten through just about everything. Thank you everybody for joining us. We will put the date for the next one probably today or tomorrow, probably be 2 or 3 weeks out. Macall, thanks a lot for joining us. I hope you're down for doing another one at some point. People seem to really enjoyed your time on it.
Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks guys for the invite. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to 2023. Let's kick this in the you know what and have a good time.
She meant ass. I told her not to swear on this. All right, thanks for coming everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks everybody.
Later.